Hi guys, back with another clip. Took a while longer than I supposed to. Like I said, I was gonna do a couple of clips per week, but was busy with work, so didn't have time. But I am back with one now. This clip or video, I'm probably gonna talk about this side, English Premier League, and the English Premier League Prizm as a whole. Now, a little bit of background before we get into the Prizm that I want to talk about is that originally, at least when I started collecting, the Premier League license was with Topps. So Topps was doing Premier League product, while Panini only had Premier League teams in different products, but they were only allowed one team per product. For example, like Immaculate 1, they had Manchester United. Immaculate 2, I think it was Chelsea. So they were only allowed one team per product because the actual Premier League license was with Topps. Since 2018, they signed, Panini got the license, and the first product came out in 2019, which was the EPL Panini Prizm. So that was the first product. The second product I already did a clip on, which was the Premier League Impeccable, which is considered the high end. Now, come to this year, we are supposed to get our second Prizm, as in Panini EPL Prizm second season, which is 2020 and to 2021. Originally, it was supposed to come out December. When I'm doing this clip now, it's November. November, we were supposed to get Immaculate, and the Prizm for EPL was supposed to come out in December. Now, what I've heard is that Immaculate is most likely pushed back to December, which means that the EPL Prizm probably will be out January or most likely February. But having said that, I thought it would be good to share that when the product does actually come out, which player would be nice to have, as in to collect, nice to invest, and which players to look for. And that's why I've done this clip, and hopefully it'll be useful to you guys. Now, I've separated out into three categories. Some established names, but no Prizm cards. Before I go into more detail, I'm not going to touch on the true rookie, the true RC, blah, 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 because that's, like I said in previous clips, is a whole different argument that we could go on forever. But I've picked players with no Prizm cards, established names with no Prizm cards. I've picked players that with no Prizm cards as well, who are now getting game times, so it might be worthwhile to follow their career, follow their performance, because their value in cards could go up. And then there are players to just keep an eye on, sort of youngish players that transfer to EPL teams. They haven't got game time yet, but people expect them to do well in the future. So I've done three categories that I think are players that should look for or follow when the product does come out. But I've got to stress that there are more players than the ones that I will be showing you soon. But, I just couldn't fit all the players in. So these are the players that came to my mind that I've done some background on, and that's why they're in this clip. But, there are more. And maybe when the checklist does come out, I'll do another clip with the actual checklist, because these are just players that I am estimating or guessing that would be good to have. And definitely you got to start off with Mason Greenwood. Manchester United, I can't imagine how much the breaking cost for Manchester United for Prizm will be, because yes, Greenwood is in Chronicles, but those are Donruss cards, they are contender ticket cards, pitch king cards. They do not have a Prizm card for Greenwood yet. Now, I put the stats there because for a 18-year-old last season, he scored a lot of goals. This season, his performance hasn't been up to standards, but again, it's normal to expect from a young player that the second season, the game time takes a toll on the player, blah, blah, blah. But he is a quality player. And I bet when EPL Prizm comes out, and if there is his Prizm card, then Man U, with assuming there'll be CR7 autos and other players, Man U breaking costs will be crazy. But I would think he would still be one of the players to at least keep a couple base cards in your locker, in your storage, whatever, because he could become big. And I mean, if it does come out now, it might be actually be a good, like my previous clip, that you've got to buy when the players aren't performing, but you think they have potential. So he could be a good buy. And I mean, if the product comes out now and he's not playing as well, his cards won't be crazy as if he's scoring 8, 9 goals. So he could be someone that would be worthwhile investing in. Got a couple of Chelsea guys that you already know. Kai Havertz has a lot of cards. No Prism yet. And like I said, I'm not going to go to talk about, it's not his RC card or rookie card. He's got rookie cards from previous years, blah, blah. But the point is, I'm talking about Prism. He does not have a Prism card yet. So, again, second team, the cost could be high, would be a team like Chelsea. They have Havertz, which personally I would probably try to get a few of his base cards or the Prism cards or variations because, he does have potential. I have Ziyech there because he also does not have any Prism cards, but he's 27. So I don't know how far his cards value would go. Chelsea would also have players like Werner and all that, but Werner has already has 2018 World Cup cards. But Chelsea as a team could be quite expensive to join breaks, especially if people are chasing Havertz because he doesn't have a Prism card. He wasn't in the 2018 World Cup. I mean, and even if Select Euro next year, which is postponed from this year, comes out as a Euro Prism, I expect EPL Prism to release beforehand. So Havertz would be another player to keep an eye on. Another player, again, this is for Arsenal now. I'm going through the big teams first. Saka, already getting game time. He's wearing number 7. Not the greatest stats or crazy stats. I've watched him played a lot this season because he's getting a lot of more game time. He's getting into good positions. Just the final ball, the final decision are not as good as an experienced player yet, but he's 19. Again, he has cards in Chronicles, but no Prism card. So he could be someone that you could get, and hopefully he will increase in value. But my point is, Arsenal could be more crazy to join break as well because I've got a couple more Arsenal players on the list, and I'll touch on. I mean, they've got players like Martinelli, which I have Martinelli, Willock. So that Arsenal has a lot of RC potentials that could increase the value. I mean, I don't even have Emil Smith Rowe in here. So Arsenal have 4 or 5 players that could be RC material. Nielsen is another player, but I've got Saka here because he's already getting game time. He's playing a lot of games, and a lot of people are hyping him up. And like I said, he's got into a lot of good positions when he does play. Just his final decision making hasn't been great, and that's why his stats aren't as good. But he is also someone that I would potentially invest in. And finally, I have one more player, Ferran Torres with Man City. Crazy stats, 9 matches, 4 goals and 1 assist. Given its other competition or hasn't scored. I mean, he scored in Premier League last week, but these stats aren't updated yet. Again, he has cards in Chronicles. He has tickets, he has pitching, but no Prism card. Already established Spanish international, playing for Man City, big team. So usually people do not take Man City as often as the big 4, you call it, or the Liverpool, the Chelsea, the Man United. In breaks, I'm talking about. But Man City could be a lot cheaper than the big team, but then you could be possible getting some Torres's short print cards or his Prism cards, insert cards, variation cards. So might be a worthwhile investment in terms of Torres, especially if someone's doing a pick your player PYP break. He could be one of the players that go really quick because a lot of people are already thinking that he could rise up in potential or card price as well. So he's another player that I've got down who's already got in game time, and we only get better. Now there are players that now getting game time that maybe people hasn't mentioned as much. I've got Lamptey and Calvin Phillips. I mean, Calvin Phillips, he's injured now. That's why he's not in the latest English squad. But a lot of people have already mentioned. I mean, he got caught up in the England squad even when he was playing the championship. But he could be someone that sneaks under the radar as an established English player playing now in the Premier League. And before I go on to Lamptey, Leeds United could be a team that is worthwhile taking breaks. I'm going to say it now because they have Calvin Phillips, they have Harrison, which I have on the next page. So they have a couple of players, even younger players, if these players are on the checklist. So Leeds could be a team that you spend a little but has huge potential. Leeds United. And they have a lot of followers. So Leeds team could be a team that people would go after. But Calvin Phillips might be worthwhile having a few of his cards. I mean, I know he's 24, but like I said, established player. I mean, if Leeds go down this season and he moves to a big team, I mean, he could even play for top teams and his cards will go up. The player on the top, Lamptey, plays for Brighton. Sort of like a right wing back. He's already scored one or two with a couple of assists. Very young, 20-year-old. The new mold of like the Trent Alexander-Arnold, the Reece James type of players. So, might be someone keeping an eye on. Brighton won't be expensive in taking breaks. Usually they aren't. But if he's on a checklist, then maybe, it might be worthwhile taking Brighton in a few breaks in case you get some of his low number cards or some of his cards for the future. Because these players are already getting game times. I've got three more. I've already mentioned Martinelli. I mean, he got injured. He was getting game times towards the end of last season before he got injured. Huge potential. Like I said, Arsenal are going to be expensive because Arsenal have a lot of young potential players that cards could go up. Martinelli, people are already buying his rookie cards, other types, but he does not have Prizm card. I mean, for a 19-year-old, he could be someone that, or I would recommend taking him in pick your player breaks. And I have Curtis Jones up there. Past experience or historical shows that Liverpool are always expensive to take in breaks, even without much potential players. I mean, beforehand, last season it was Keita. This season, when I was talking to people, I was saying Liverpool don't have much potential. But lately, Curtis Jones was getting a lot of game time. He's played in the last 3 matches since I've done this clip. Now, for a 19-year-old to get game time in a champion team, both in terms of Liverpool just recently won the Champions League, won the Premier League last season. That shows how much faith Klopp has in him and how much potential he has. So he could be a player that his card goes up. You know that Liverpool have a lot of supporters and a lot of card collectors collecting Liverpool cards. So Curtis Jones might be someone that Liverpool collectors will collect. 19-year-old getting game time. My third example towards the bottom is Jack Harrison. Like I said, Leeds might be a good team if these players are in the product, actually, I should say. I mean, he's on loan from Man City. He's 23, but already a couple of assists, already a couple of goals. English. Not going to go as high as the Mbappe or the Haaland or the Reina. But in terms of the amount you pay for Leeds United, he could be someone that, might make it worthwhile when you're taking Leeds in break. Similar to a lot of people were taking Aston Villa to get the Grealish cards. So something along that line. So I had him in there because he's part of the Leeds team that have a lot of young players. They're being managed by Bielsa, who is renowned as a good manager. So these players could increase in value. Now I've got 3 players that aren't playing, but supposedly they have huge potential. I don't know if Panini are going to put them in the product, but like I already mentioned, Joe Willock of Arsenal. So like I said, Arsenal are going to have a ton of RCs if these players are put in, especially if they have the RC logos. But I have 2 more players such as Fabio Silva, which Wolves paid a lot of money. He hasn't gone, he's come on a little bit in games towards the end of the matches. He hasn't played, but he's only 18. But if he's in the checklist and you take Wolves and you have his cards, and in 2 or 3 year time he becomes big, then you're set because you have his cards. Same with the Ngana who moved from West Ham to West Brom. A lot of people, or the West Ham fans, were disappointed when he was sold to West Brom. Now, he's a bit older, 22, but from what I've heard, he's really good. So again, I mean, you have these kind of players' cards in your collection or your locker or whatever, and they get more game time, they get a transfer, then you're already set because you will be sitting on their first Prizm cards. And that's why I've got these players down as in maybe players to look for. But I've got this example, and what I call it is you got to be careful of the Pookie trap. Nothing against Timo Pukki, good player, played for Norwich, had a burst of goals. Norwich was doing well. People went crazy. His color blast was going for crazy prices. His base cards, a low number, were getting magged. But he's an old player. Panini put an RC logo on him. They put an RC logo on Bernard of Everton, who's an old player. So don't fall for this trap. Nothing against Bamford. Actually, he scored a hat-trick a couple of weeks ago. But he's 27. He's never going to be a world-class player. Like I said, nothing against him. Most he's going to be is a Premier League player or maybe a Championship player. So yeah, he's in Leeds. I mentioned that Leeds would be good to take of the young players, but not because of Bamford. And that's why I call this as the Pookie trap. Especially if the product comes out and he scores goals while the products are out, people are going to think that his cards are high value. But like I said, how much higher can you get for a 27-year-old English player? It's not going to be much. It's going to be hyped. It's going to be manipulated. Then it's going to drop. And Bamford won't be the only player that I call the Pookie trap. There'll be a couple. Especially if Panini put RCs on players that aren't supposed to, which they claim that it's their first Prizm card, blah, blah, blah. So if Bamford has an RC, don't fall for that trap, man. Cards aren't going to be, it's going to be hyped up. Then it's going to drop down. Same with Timo Pukki. And that's why I've got it here. And I just hope that Panini does not put RCs on players such as like Thiago Silva, who, plays for Chelsea, but he's like a 35-year-old. I hope they do not have like an RC logo on Cavani, which Manchester United, those type of players. So hopefully that won't happen. But Bamford could be someone where Panini sneak it in, and people who don't watch as much EPL Premier League will think that, hey, he's got potential. I mean, nothing against him, but his card price aren't going to go up. Why? I mean, I've got a couple of examples here. If you look at someone who's red hot right now, I mean, Jota would be a good investment compared to like the Pookie trap or the Bamford, because I think it's 7 goals in 5 matches, and 16 of his base cards sold for 150. I mean, it's slashed, but it averages around $10 per card. And this card doesn't even have an RC logo. It doesn't even have, it's probably not even his rookie card. But it's going for crazy money. Crazy as it means for a base card to go for $10. Usually back before the soccer boom, a base card would go for $2. I mean, a CR7, a Messi was going for $5, but a Jota card for $12, or even you look at someone who's crazy hot now, like Son Heung-min, average around $10 for his cards. His insert in Prizm is going for more, not to mention his graded cards, as you can see. I've got these examples in. Why? Because, even though a lot of players, it won't be their RC cards or rookie cards. I mean, even they have the RC rookie. But I'm talking in terms of long term, I believe that Premier League cards will hold its value and some players will increase, especially if it's their first Prizm, if there's the true rookie cards. Why? Because Premier League is the most watched league. It's where the money is in terms of TV rights, sponsors. Therefore, cards will follow. And like the examples I've shown, the Jota who shoots up because he scores 7 goals in 5 matches, Son Heung-min because he's playing so well, I mean, I didn't show you a picture of Harry Kane's base card, which has gone up in value. But I've done this clip because I believe Premier League cards hold values. And that's why I've done this clip. I know the checklist isn't out. We haven't even gotten a given date of when the product's coming out. But this will give you a lot of time to think about it. I might even do one more after this because, I mean, Premier League has already played 7 matches. So by the time the product comes out and I see the checklist, I might even pinpoint who I think will go up, who I think would be worthwhile, and who I think are the pookie trap. But I thought it'd be interesting to do this one now when we haven't seen anything, but we know that a product is definitely coming out. So that's about it for this video. I hope you guys like it, and like I said, if you find it useful, entertaining, or you just like to watch more of my videos, please subscribe to YouTube, to the Instagram, or even join my Facebook group. So until next time, see you guys. Take care.